everybody. I'm glad you're back. Remember last week how we started a 5-week unit on God's helpers? And I showed you these pictures? Well, last week, remember we talked about the story that went along with this picture. It was the story about Miriam and how Miriam was a helper because she helped to protect her baby brother Moses. Remember, she put him in a basket and had it float down the river? Remember? So today, we're talking about the story that goes with this picture. And what is that? It's a crown. That's right. And who wears crowns? Kings and queens, right? Well, guess what? In today's story, we have both a king and a queen. And our story is from the Bible. And it's a story about a beautiful queen named Esther. But before we get started, that's right, I'm going to show you a picture. And this is today's picture. So what do you see? See, that's right, the boy and the girl, and the boy is holding a what? A broom, and the little girl's holding a dustpan. So what's he going to do? He's going to take what he's sweeping and put it in here, right? So she is helping him by holding the dustpan, right? And together they are helping to get the room clean. They're helpers. Now, do y'all remember ways that you can be helpers? Have you been helpers this week? Good for you. Good for you. It's great because we all can be helpers. And I can promise you that when we're being helpers, God is smiling. And I'll tell you what, I know for sure that God was smiling when Queen Esther showed up to be a helper. Well, I'll tell you what happened. In the story from the Bible, we learn that there was some mean people that wanted to hurt Esther's people. And Esther, they kept asking her to go to the king to save her people. She was really scared. But guess what? She was brave. And Queen Esther went to the king and asked the king to save her people. And guess what? He did. He did. And to this day even, the Jewish people have a celebration called Purim, where they remember how their people were saved by the courage of Queen Esther. Wow. And you know what? I know who's going to hear this story. You're right, Rudy. So Rudy! That's right, we need to sing. Will you do it with me? Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong. They are weak, but he is strong. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so. Oh, my friends are here. Hello. Oh, I love you guys. Did you have a good week? Were you helpers? Were you helpers? Huh? Did you? Were you a helper? I was a helper. I helped clean up my messes. And I even got my teeth brushed without even being told. Whoa, I was a helper. Rudy, good for you. High five. I'm proud of you. Did you help to do anything else? I did dishes. I appreciate that. I love to know when you're being a helper. So Rudy, guess what? Today we learned a story about Queen Esther, who was a helper. Was she from the Bible? Yes, it's a story from the Bible, Rudy. Remember the one we had last week? Do you remember who the helper was? Anybody? Can somebody tell me who it was? Oh, that's right. Thank you. It's Margaret. It was Miriam, and she saved Moses. That's right. Well, today we learned about Queen Esther. And Queen Esther, we remember her, she was God's helper because she helped to save her people. Remember? I told our friends the story about how there were some mean people who wanted to hurt her people. And even though she was really scared to go ask the king to help to save them, guess what? What? Queen Esther went to the king and asked him to save her people, and he did. Whoa, that's great news, Miss Margaret. I know. Queen Esther was a helper. She was even scared to be a helper, and she did it anyway. Wow. Pretty cool, huh? Rudy, I'll tell you what. I'm going to let you go ahead and say goodbye to our friends because I have a little craft that we're going to do so they can maybe remember the story about Queen Esther being a helper. And it might remind them that they can be helpers too. Okay, well, my name's Margaret. Bye, Rudy. Bye, everybody. I love you. Y'all have a great week, okay? Bye. Bye, Rudy. We're so glad you were here. So, everyone, I thought it'd be kind of fun if we made crowns, because I think a crown would really help us remember Queen Esther, right? So first, I pulled this out. I'm a teacher, so I do a lot of bulletin boards. So this is what I normally would put on the edge of a bulletin board. And it kind of, when you turn it on its side and you loop it around, what does it look like? Does it kind of look like a crown? So if any of your moms or dads or grandmas or neighbors are teachers, they might have a piece of this you can take, and you can just take a snip and you can put a staple and you have a crown. Okay? But if you don't, you might have a poster board that you could just cut into a crown, you know. Or, if not, you might have just a scrap piece of construction paper. Construction paper that you could just take and fold in half and get your moms or dads to take a pair of scissors. And I've taken the fold and I am just going to cut a very simple, crown shape out of my paper. So there is my crown. Does it look like a crown? Now, you know, it'd be really fun if this crown was had some jewels on it. So you can use some crayons and some markers to kind of color it up. Or if you have, I have these jewel stickers that I was thinking about putting on mine, or gluing on some buttons, or even using some stickers that I have. But you know, I think what might even help us remember more is if we wrote the words, I am a helper like Queen Esther. Do you think that would help you remember and help anyone who sees you wearing that crown? And you know what? If they don't know who Queen Esther is, they might ask you to tell them. And then you can tell them the story about how Queen Esther helped save her people. She was God's helper. Wow. Wonderful. Well, I hope you have a great week this week. And come back and join me next week when you find out which one of these pictures we're going to talk about. Have a great one. I love you. Bye.